getting situated.
There we go.
So. Okay. Well, we are so glad that you all are with us on our very first, what did we say we were calling this? It's a
virtual oils 101.
Yes. So we are
excited.
Right? Excited for you all to be here, and hope that this is just the first of many, and we can kind of figure out how the best way to do this. And I know for a lot of people, doing a class on your own is very intimidating and scary, and it is for a lot of us, and it is, even for some of us still. So we would take this opportunity that as much as we love Oil Camp and Facebook classes and all of that, what's missing in those classes is the fact that you can't smell the oils, touch the oils, and have an experience with them. And so that's what we started talking about. Okay, how can we do that? And this is just the first step in that. We've got a couple other ideas that we're kind of working towards doing some other stuff where they actually have oils in hand. So this class is going to be interactive. Mainly, you're going to be in your living room or wherever you are. But when we're talking about products or we're talking about things, I would love for you to take that product and smell it, experience it for those that are right there. So one of the things, we are doing the Natural Solutions Kit, but there's the brochure. And I'm assuming that most of you probably have this brochure. And if you do, go ahead and take it out. If you don't, it's okay. In the middle of this brochure are things with kits. And it just kind of features a few of the kits. But the Natural Solutions Kit right here is kind of what we're talking about. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have been with doTERRA for about 5 years. I've used the products for a little over that, but I just had my 5th anniversary. And I kind of had a scarcity mindset. I'm just going to be honest. And this kit was way out of, it just seemed like, who could possibly do this? And that was my own fault. And I need to apologize to everyone I've ever shared oils with and thought I should have done this. Because I was driving in the car the other day with my daughter, and I don't know what made her look or was looking at, but she was talking about the Natural Solutions Kit, and she's like, Mom, this is like a dream come true.
Yeah.
And she said, especially for somebody who is familiar with oils, but she's like, the products that are in this are incredible. And I was like, you're right. And then, this kit too also offers, if you enroll with this kit, you also get some added benefits, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But this is the kit we're talking about. And everything that you see behind us is part of that kit, minus the books that you're sitting here. I just set those there because those are some of the tools that we use. And I don't have that little wooden box. I have big wooden boxes, so I don't have that little one. But other than that, everything is sitting right here. So if there's something that you see here that gets your attention or something on here, I think you can type a question in, and Carol's going to monitor that for us and let us know. So hopefully we can do that. And then one of the other things that on the second page of this little brochure, there's a thing right here at the top that says, what are your top health priorities? It says 3 things that you want to feel less of and 3 things that you want to feel more of. While we're talking, if you can just jot, if you can still listen and jot down, but if you can jot those down, I'm going to maybe ask for somebody who would be willing to share one of those, and we can talk about that and what products would work for those.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're going with that. So I'm a big believer, and I don't like to read anything that you all have in front of you. So if you have this brochure, we're just going to kind of skim right through it. And then we're going to talk about products and do that. But for those of you
follow along,
for those of you that don't have it, you're still gonna be able to do this. So I think one of the things for me that really got my attention when I was introduced to the oils is, for a long time, my thing was always, when my kids were little, was I always felt like I wasn't getting to the root of issues, and you kind of put a Band-Aid on it, or you kind of, do this. And I had one of my children in particular that struggled with severe ear issues from about 4 months to 9 months solid. He was sick except for 1 week. His ears were clear. But I kept saying to the doctor, I know we're not getting to the root of the issue. And my doctor was great and was willing to try. But at 9 months, we ended up putting tubes in his ears because we just couldn't get to the root. So that is one thing. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, finally, that's just really what I've thought. And it just kind of talks about kind of our modern approach to health and medicine, which there isn't necessarily anything wrong with that, but we kind of tend to be more reactionary instead of proactive. And I'm kind of one of those, I like to be proactive if I
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
I didn't take my kids to the grocery store when they were hungry, if at all possible, you know. I
Right,
was being
right.
proactive and not doing that. So that's kind of my mentality. So I love this on the front of this where it talks about, you know, it's kind of the symptoms, and then we go down to the root, and then our natural approach, which we kind of do it a different way. So I love that, and I love the fact that with our oils, because they're so small, they can get in and penetrate cells where sometimes other things that we do don't do that. So you can get to the root issue, and sometimes things can actually go away.
Yes.
You know, some things we deal with and we're going to deal with because of the world we live in, and, you know, maybe some of our own health issues that may not ever completely disappear, but we can at least make them better and more tolerable with oils.
Yes.
And so we talk about how, you know, safe and effective essential oils are, and how potent they are. That's one of the things that we often talk about. For those of you who have oils in front of you right now, I would love for you to take the peppermint oil and just open it up, and we can start the process of even just smelling it. But to tell you how incredibly powerful and effective our oils are, 1 drop of our peppermint oil is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea.
Yes.
Now, y'all, I like tea, but that is a lot of tea,
Yeah.
a lot of peppermint tea. So I thought, how interesting, and that just kind of gives you kind of some perspective on the oil and how powerful they are.
Sometimes if I want to have put a little peppermint in my coffee, make like a peppermint mocha, 1 drop honestly is too much. You need, I mean, what I do is I will take a toothpick and put some on a toothpick and stir it around. That's how powerful this peppermint is, because sometimes those fumes can just take your breath away. Because 1 drop is
and it has such a cooling effect too, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But so again, it's kind of giving you the perspective of how much oil we need, and so on. So I love doTERRA has kind of created a standard, kind of a culture of oils, because obviously essential oils are not regulated. It's just not there's not government regulations per se on them, and so there's a wide open, which has some benefit but kind of also has a downside too. So doTERRA has come up with their process, which is
certified pure therapeutic
grade. Yes, good job. I put her on the spot with that one.
Yeah.
But that is the standard that they've come up with. So, and that just gives you comfort in the fact that you know that all the processes it's gone through. And if you want more information on that, there is a wealth of information out there as far as the testing, the distillation process, and all of that with the oils.
On the doTERRA website.
Yeah, and absolutely, and yes, and that is a great place to go for info. But and then beyond that, if you need more information, we can always come up with more information for you to do that. So there are 3 ways that we use oils, and I'm gonna let Peggy talk about those, and we're gonna do that.
The first way, which most people, if they've ever heard of essential oils, most people know about this first way, and that's aromatic. That's putting it in the diffuser like we have going right now. But your best diffusers are your hands.
True, absolutely.
And so, you know, you can put a drop in your hands and rub them together and cup your hands and just breathe in really good. And that's aromatic. The topical is obviously topical. Put it on. This is actually Breathe, and I'm putting it on my chest to help open my airways, you know, and that kind of thing. And then the last one, which is you want to make sure you read the labels on the bottles. If it says supplemental facts, supplemental information, that means that you can take it internal, and that's the 3rd way.
And it actually does it not look just like your label, almost like what's on your food?
Yes.
So it has that, you know, little, like you look at it and you can see what's in it. So that's what that is. So and again, when we talk about using oils internally, we're talking about using doTERRA's oils internally, because we know how those have been processed, harvested, distilled, and tested. So that's why we're confident in doing that. I have a few oils that are not recommended for internal use, and those are marked, and they don't have the little
they won't have the supplemental fats on there.
Yes.
But internal means you can put a drop or two underneath your tongue. You can put it in a veggie cap, just an empty veggie capsule. Take it apart.
Yeah.
Put a few drops of oil in there. Put it back together and swallow it with some water. You can put some in a glass of water. Like I like to put lemon, in my water in a glass.
Something like that you're just kind of drinking on like throughout the time. When we do, like if we're using something like maybe say for the seasonal threats that go around, I do it in a little shooter of water.
So do I.
Because I need to get it in quicker. I don't want to like necessarily drink on it for a while. I want to get it in my system. And so we do that.
Yeah,
so,
and that's actually I feel the effects very quickly.
Sure, absolutely.
When I do that.
And then when we do the aromatic, topical, and internal, for those of you that have peppermint, we opened it a second ago. And if you want to do this, you can experience all three of these uses with peppermint if you want. If you'll take your hand and put a drop of peppermint in your hand, and then Peggy's going to show you, and then take your thumb, put your thumb in that drop and put it on the roof of your mouth. Now, if you're expecting a peppermint candy, that's not what it is. You're going to get a very cooling mint sensation. Wow. And that's what throws people sometimes because they're expecting like a peppermint, like a Tic Tac or something like that. Right. And it's not like that. So then rub your hands together. And now we're going to do aromatic, which Peggy talked about your hands, and you're going to smell. Just watch out for your eyes. If you open your hand too much, it'll kind of make your eyes a little bit water, but it's not going to hurt you. It just, you feel that. And now take your hand and just swipe the back of your neck, which is giving you the topical experience of the oil. Now that's one oil, peppermint, and all three of those ways. And that'll kind of give you just a sense. The peppermint has a very cooling feel too. So if you happen to be sitting in a house where at the moment there's air conditioning on or a fan, you're going to really feel cool.
Because it can lower your body temperature.
Yep, it sure can. So again, that is the three ways: aromatic, topical, and internal. And like Peggy said, we have a diffuser going right now, and it has wild orange and peppermint in it. Or our hands, which are super handy. And I know sometimes, like for children, where with kids, we always dilute oils. But I know sometimes people will do that with their hands, and then they'll just let the child breathe it in, which I think is good because it's very much diluted on their hands, and then they're doing that. So just another option. So you're never without a diffuser. You always have an option.
That's true.
And so so those are the three ways that we use oils. And it's interesting because you tend to, and I'll be honest, I used to very much not do, diffusing was just like an afterthought to me.
Yeah.
But I really have tried. Now at night, I always diffuse. I always put oils in the diffuser. I have a little shelf that sits above my bed. So I used to have it on my nightstand, but I felt like I was hogging it all to myself, and my husband wasn't getting any benefit. So I have a little shelf that sits above our bed, the diffuser. But I diffuse every night. But other than that, I just wasn't. So I've tried to make a real concerted effort to just have the diffuser going. And let me tell you, a few months ago, when we had all that junk going around and all the stuff, the diffuser was running 24/7 in our household, and we fared very well during that season of yuck, and we're able to. And I have in our family, we have people that work in all sorts of people-related businesses, and so exposed to lots of stuff, and everybody stayed fairly healthy. So for that, I was thankful.
Right, and with diffusing, that was probably one of the last things that I really came on board with, because I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe that it really did anything except make my house
just thought it smelled good.
Yeah, exactly. Until one day, one of my daughters was not in a really good mood, and so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna test this aromatic diffusing thing and see if it really works. And so one of her oils that helped uplift her mood was wild orange. And so I put a few drops in the diffuser and started it, and within 5 minutes she was braiding the hair of her baby sister.
Isn't that interesting?
The one she was just fighting with.
Yeah.
And so that made me a believer in
absolutely.
it, because I was like, okay, there really is something to this.
Absolutely. Have wild orange where you are right now. If you just open that, pass it around, and let people smell it, it is an incredible smell.
Yes.
Citrus oils on the whole are really good for uplifting moods. And while we're talking about citrus oils, oil actually comes from the rind of the fruit,
True.
not the pulp or the meat of the fruit. So the acidity is not there like we're used to. And I'm telling you, if I've ever doubted that, it was I was hosting a baby shower and I had on a big funky plastic ring and it broke. I could feel it break. So without thinking, I just pulled it off my finger and sliced my finger right open.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't need stitches, but it would not stop bleeding. So here I am hosting a baby shower. I have a napkin tissue and I'm, have it like this, but every time I opened my hand, it would start bleeding again. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And this was early on in my oil journey. So I did not have all of the oils. I did not have helichrysum, which I knew was a good one for anything blood related. And so Carol pulled out one of our books and she's like, okay, let me see what it says. And then she's like, it says lemon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so. Because all I could think of was I'm not pouring lemon juice in a paper cut. I mean, because that's,
Exactly.
And so, but I couldn't get it to stop. So we went ahead and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I dropped it on there. And I promise you, it did not hurt, sting one bit. And it stopped the bleeding. And so I was like, and so for that moment on, I was like, I can tell you the acidity is not there.
No.
Because that would have hurt. So.
Well, and I also know a couple of friends of mine that their bodies are extremely sensitive to citrus fruits. And so I told them, I said, just make sure, because they wanted to try like lemon in their water. And I said, just make sure you're ready, to do whatever you need to do, just in case. I said, but this comes from the rind, so it should not affect you. And both of them had no issues whatsoever, and they were like shocked.
Yeah. Well, that's the same question sometimes we get about grapefruit oil. When people are concerned about grapefruit and certain, I think it's cholesterol, if I remember. Anyway, certain interactions. But the difference is, again, it comes from the rind, not the fruit.
Right.
So, so anyway, so if you've had a chance to smell wild orange, it is yummy. And a great one for mood uplifting. So, okay, so we are going to talk about how to live empowered and a little bit more of a natural. For most of us, or a lot of us, are trying to move that direction. So this is the second page in our brochure, and this kind of looks like I'm gonna turn this. Kind of looks like shelves, like maybe in your medicine cabinet in your bathroom. For those of you that have them, sometimes we just have open shelves now.
Right.
But these are kind of all of these products, and they kind of fit into 3 categories. So this top shelf is kind of your stuff that you might go to when you are trying to fight something off. It feels like something's, attacking or boosting your immune system, so you can fight things off better. This middle one is more kind of like daily habits, and then the bottom is kind of preventative. So those are kind of just some of the things that we're going to talk about. We've talked a little bit. We talked a little bit about Breathe. But if you have your Breathe, if you've got Breathe oil, if you would pick that up and open it up and smell it, pass that around so people can smell. This is our respiratory blend, which is self-explanatory, which is nice that that's what it is.
Right.
But it is a great blend for anything respiratory.
It sure is. Even if you're you work out or you walk or you run, or if you know of an athlete, if your kids are into sports, that's also a good oil to help them open up the airways, so that as they're exercising or working out or running, walking, whatever they're doing, they breathe easier, deeper, so that they get more oxygen.
Yeah.
So.
Also, we have several products in the Breathe line. We have the straight Breathe oil. The Breathe oil also comes in the touch form, which is more in a bottle like this that doTERRA did a few years ago. But the whole line is diluted, and it's diluted specifically for that oil.
Right.
And it's ready to just roll on and go. So super handy for traveling, carrying in your purse, for kids, diaper bags. They're just ready to go. We also have a Breathe stick, which is like a vapor, kind of a vapo stick kind of thing that you roll up, and it kind of has that feel of, but really handy and super easy for kids. I know kids that do it themselves, roll it on the bottom of their feet. One thing we didn't talk about when we were talking about the ways to use oils, when we're talking about topically, let's talk about why we do them on the bottom of our feet. Because the first time anybody told me that, I'm like, why am I doing that on the bottom of my feet?
Yeah, exactly. Because my first experience with oils was the Breathe oil. Yeah. And I was told to put it, I was having some respiratory issues, and I was told to put it on the bottom of feet. And I looked at her and I was like, what does that have to do with my respiratory system?
Right.
You know, so so yeah, we put it on the bottom of the feet. The pores on the bottom of the feet are very large, and so it the oil gets into your system within 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's very quick.
And within 30 minutes, it hits every cell in your body. So it's very fast. And it's easy, especially for children.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's very easy. If you need a certain oil and you're not real, you're a little sensitive to the smell,
True.
the bottom of the feet is a really good option because you won't smell it.
Well, and the skin too is so thick on the bottom of the foot that even though we dilute a lot of oils, I don't necessarily dilute on the bottom of my feet.
Right.
If I'm using the touch line, I do. It's obviously done for me, but I've never had it sting or burn the bottom of my foot. Now, if you put oils on the bottom of your foot and like say maybe a hotter oil, some of our oils are a little bit hotter, spicy, oregano, cinnamon, clove. If you were to put on the bottom of your foot and then sit on your foot, you're going to get a little red mark on your leg. But for the most part on the bottom of your feet. But again, it's the pores are the biggest. And like for kids, you can do that and put socks on the bottom of their feet and then, you know, you're good to go. So interesting. Again, that wasn't something that I was familiar with as far as that goes. So that was an interesting thing too.
When we first started, my youngest daughter had a recurring issue, throat respiratory issue. And so she, the only thing I did was put the oils that she needed on the bottom of her feet. That was it.
Yeah.
And within less than 16 hours, she was over it.
Yeah.
And so the bottom of the feet is, I mean, I'm telling you, it works.
Well, and that is we've had a couple different instances where oils have been put on the bottom of their feet and somebody can taste them in their mouth.
Exactly, that's happened.
Because sometimes you're like, that doesn't help. It doesn't work. And I'm like, I don't know how I tasted it.
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah.
So anyway, just, and you know, and then we often will do down the spine or, you know, if you can get to an area that you're trying to deal with something, as close to that area as possible is always a good thing. I like to go down the spine when we're dealing with something systemic and, you know, there's just, there are all sorts of, you know, you just feeling, I like to do that, you know, that's fine. But if it's anything head related, I often do down the sides of my neck, whatever. So Breathe is one of our powerhouse blends for sure.
Yeah.
Digestin is another one of our blends. That is anything tummy related. And this oil is so incredibly smart. It just does whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
If you need to go, it helps do that. And if you need to not go, it helps do that. So it's just super smart.
Yeah.
So if those of you that have that, if you want to open it and smell it, and tell me what you think it smells like. I'm not going to tell you. I'll just let you tell me what you think it smells like. But a huge powerhouse blend. Just had a situation last week where I was helping somebody with something and got a message back and was like, is it possible for that to have worked that quickly? And I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So again, the oils are just such a small, such a small form. It just absorbs into the body very quickly. The body sees the oils as food. So it takes them and processes them as it would food. Where some of the things that we take that we have to do from time to time are a synthetic base. The body takes a little bit longer sometimes to go, I don't know what to do with this. It's not resonating like as food, which all of this does. So but explain why it
the body just knows what to do with something that's natural when you put it in.
Yes. Yeah. So that is another one of our powerhouse blends. On Guard is another one of our blends. I'm just kind of going through a few of our blends right now, but it is our immune boosting. And we say that, and it just goes in and helps your body do what it needs to do and gives it some added tools. But we have an incredible line of products with On Guard. And if you have On Guard, go ahead and open it and smell it, pass it around. It kind of smells like Christmas. I'll tell you that one. It kind of smells like Christmas in a bottle to me. But we have such great products as far as On Guard goes. So we're going to show you a few of those. I don't have them all. I just have what's in the Natural Solutions kit out right now. But we have a foaming hand soap that, honest to goodness, is incredible. Yeah. And that's not something that's ever been a huge thing for me, but I love this. I have it in our bathrooms. I have it by the kitchen sink. Yep. And it is, it's just a great foam. And I'll be honest with you, I even dilute mine a little bit, and it's still great. It's just a great texture.
Yeah, and it has a great smell. It has the On Guard smell, but for some reason in the soap you can smell more of the cinnamon. So
and then you get these, and they come with the refills right there. So that is a great product, and I know kids love it. The On Guard toothpaste is a great great product. And we actually just had someone recently who went to the dentist. It had been a little while and wanted to know what they had been doing to their teeth. And the person said, just using On Guard toothpaste. And they were quite impressed.
Yeah.
So if you're expecting that whole foaming at the mouth thing, you don't get that with On Guard.
No.
But I've learned, I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
And so, but it tastes yummy, and you have that
Yeah.
cinnamon, kind of a cinnamony clove taste. So I love that On Guard. You want to talk about this? This is one of my favorite
Yes,
things.
the On Guard sanitizing mist, and it's a hand sanitizer. And
Oh, I brought one that's not open.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it's okay. But I carry this in my purse.
Oh, yeah.
I spritz it on my hands. You can spritz it on your steering wheel.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the grocery store, you could spritz it on the shopping cart handle.
Now, I normally spritz my hands and then touch the shopping
Yeah,
cart. And
I do
I am
too.
not a big germaphobe, but when all the junk was going around this winter, I was concerned. I'm like, I do
Yeah.
not want this junk. So when I would go to the grocery store, I would spray that on. And I have to tell you, it draws some attention because it smells so good that
Yeah.
people will often say, what is that? Or, what are you doing? Or, whatever. And I've been known to go into a restaurant or I shop at Sam's Club, and I'll go in and just spray the table if we're going to sit in the food court snack bar thing area, spray the table down. But it often gets attention because it smells so good.
Well, and it looks different than
True,
most
true.
hand
You're
sanitizer.
expecting a little clear,
right?
And now it does have rubbing alcohol in it.
Yes.
But
So you don't want to spray it in your mouth.
which I did when it first came out, because we used to make our own on
Yeah.
our hand. So we would just get an atomizer or a little, even one of these little spray or bottles. You can add a little spray pump to it. So I do my own, and I spray it in my mouth or spray it on my hands. So when I first got that, I did that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I didn't die, obviously, but it doesn't taste so good. But they added apple extract to it to not dry your hands out,
Right.
because you know how often hand sanitizers do that because of the
Right.
rubbing alcohol. So great new product
Yeah.
that I'm in.
Wonderful.
Just love it.
And you
love
can
it.
just carry it with
Yes.
you everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and we have, these are the On Guard beadlets,
Yeah.
which are little tiny little beadlet. It has a half a drop
Yeah.
of oil in it, but it's kind of like a breath freshener. The peppermint also comes that way
Right.
too. And it just kind of gives you that pop of, I know sometimes people use those with kids because it's only the half a drop of oil. But again, if you're expecting a Tic Tac or that's not, it's just the oil. And so it can kind of, it'll wake you up.
Right. And with kids, they can just swallow the little
True.
beadlets.
Swallow it, yeah.
They don't have to.
I know some people that put them under their
burst
tongue,
them.
but
Yeah.
I tend to just pop them on the roof of my mouth. But if I had small children, I'd probably be just, hey, try and swallow this, if whatever. So,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
even if you're having some throat discomfort, that would, because it has clove in it,
Yeah.
that's a really good thing. You could just pop it with your tongue,
Yeah.
the roof of your mouth, and just let it go down, and it will really soothe your throat.
Yeah.
So,
And with the doTERRA line, we also have a cleaner concentrate, which I absolutely love. It took me a little while to just suck it up and get it because it costs a little bit more than I was, whatever, but I love it.
well,
and
and
knowing,
it lasts forever.
oh yeah, and knowing though that I'm inhaling, like when I'm cleaning,
Yeah.
whatever I inhale isn't going to hurt me is a huge benefit. We also have laundry soap, which is huge. We've discovered in our household, it is powerful as a stain fighter or a spot spot treater, even stuff that's already been washed and dried. We've often been able to take care of with that. So good stuff. We also have throat drops, the Breathe
Yes.
and On Guard both come in like a throat lozenge that I love. Both, again, powerhouse blends that just can really kick whatever you're dealing with.
Right.
Let's talk about, you want to talk a little bit about past tense? You do okay.
Yeah. Past tense, actually, I used to have a lot of head and neck tension going on, and past tense was actually one of the first oils that I used that actually worked.
Me too.
With that.
For a true tension headache.
Yes.
Yes. True tension headache. I was stunned the first time I used it because I was like, oh man,
Exactly.
it works.
And my daughter's father-in-law, this actually helps him sleep. And
I've heard that.
Yes,
I've heard that.
and he won't go without this. So this is just a really powerful little oil. Plus it has cilantro in it, which I like.
Yeah.
So I like the smell.
Well, and I did not realize that cilantro is a good one when you're dealing with like cortisol issues. And so there's several people who that's something that they deal with, and past tense blend has been great for them. So yeah, and I've used that even on other like muscles that are tense or tension, and do that, rub it on even like legs or whatever. So and I love it. So good stuff. Not one we talk about a whole lot, but it's a great oil.
It is.
Let's talk about. I'm just going to talk about a couple more things, only because I want you all to be able to talk there or to ask questions if you've got those. We talked about. Did we talk about Fake Blue?
No, we
did
didn't.
not. Okay, I don't. The oil, I don't have that, but I have this.
Yes.
So Deep Blue is our soothing blend. Thank you. I'm like soothing blend. Comes in a straight oil form. Comes in one that's the Deep Blue Touch, and then it comes in this. And this stuff is incredible. Any kind of muscle stuff you got going on, any kind of cramps you have going on, any kind. Helps immensely with those. It is just incredible. Now, I will caution you, when I first got this, I was so excited. My husband is with a lot of muscle aches and pains, and I got this and slathered him in this. He did not appreciate that very much, as he kept waking up during the night. And he said, he just woke up and was like, why am I awake again?
Yeah.
But literally, I use about that much.
Yeah.
And it is really,
a little
truly,
bit goes a long way.
Great stuff. But it was in, if I recall correctly, one of the Olympians had Deep Blue in her bag of stuff when they were asking what they had in their backpack or whatever. She had Deep Blue. So it's good. I mean, just a great stuff that, and you just think, oh, it's just going to work like any of the other stuff we've tried, but there's it doesn't. It works so well, so much better. And it smells great. Has that peppermint. If you have Deep Blue, if you've got the oil there in front of you, or either one, open that up and smell it. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Got wintergreen in it.
Wintergreen, blue tansy.
Yeah, blue tansy. Yes. So good stuff for sure. Let's talk about fractionated coconut oil, because that is not something that when we were first introduced to the oil, because we were introduced at about the same time, diluting just wasn't something that we really knew about.
Yeah, no one really talked about it.
And to me, it was a waste of time. And so I was just like, what am I getting? But I've learned to so love coconut oil.
Yes.
Whether you're diluting your own oils, and again, like we said, for children, for older adults, anybody with sensitivities, really anybody all around, we really talk about diluting now. And one of the things that the best way that I had diluting described to me too is it's more of a time release. It just goes into your system at a little bit of a slower rate. You don't tend to get maybe the skin sensitivity that you would or whatever. And so we kind of, I dilute a lot
well,
now.
And also I've heard Dr. Hill talk about how if you're wanting to specifically target a certain area, so for instance, if you have, a dark spot on your face that you are really wanting frankincense to really, help, to dilute it first, put a little bit of coconut oil on first, and then put some frankincense, because he said because it absorbs slower, it's going to really target that area instead of kind of
like
spread.
Yes. Interesting. Yeah. And I know I've heard that, but it just had never, that's a good,
So diluting, sometimes if you're really wanting to specifically target something that's going on and support whatever it is, dilution is a really good thing, because it does not affect the potency of the oil.
Because we do tend to think of, when we think of diluting, we think of making it less potent, less strong, but it just goes in at a slower rate. So, and now's kind of a good time for you to talk about when we use coconut oil as opposed to water, like if something.
Oh, yes. For instance, if you're using peppermint or oregano, thyme,
even on guard for some people,
on guard,
spicy,
cinnamon, any of those hotter, oils, you definitely want to dilute them. But let's say you are opening up a bottle of peppermint and you accidentally, get some on you, and it is really bothering you. Don't run for the water. Remember, oil and water do not mix. The water actually can make it stronger, and
it drives it in deeper.
Drives it in deeper and stronger. And so you want to go for fractionated coconut oil, coconut oil,
Right.
you know, the
Olive
kind you
oil,
can just olive
grapeseed.
oil.
Yeah, and
Grapeseed.
if all you have is vegetable oil, then grab that. Yeah,
Yes.
it really is.
And
So,
it
yeah.
really, I mean, almost instantly.
I've gotten oils actually in my eye because I've
Yes.
forgotten, like, and I was putting them somewhere else and then
Yeah.
rubbed my eye. Now, I did not take the oil and dump it directly in my eye. That I had my eye closed. Of course, it was watering like crazy. And I took the fractionated coconut oil and then just rubbed it around my eye and then kept my eye closed. And it is absorbed and it will cut
Yeah.
that hot oil. So,
Yeah,
and again,
absolutely.
something else that we do is we never put oils directly into the eyes, the ears, or the nose.
Exactly.
When we're dealing with ear stuff, if you've got, earaches going on,
Mhm.
whatever, cotton ball with some oil on it, put on the ear, around the ear, around the eye. If you're dealing with
Yeah,
stuff,
like
you put it around your
yeah.
eye, and on your nose.
Right.
And I do know people that will dilute some and put like maybe in the,
Yeah.
but for the most part, you don't just take the oil bottle and dump it in
Yeah,
your
don't
ear.
do that.
So that's one of the things
Yeah.
we don't do. But fractionated coconut oil, and this has been done. If those of you that use coconut oil know that it solidifies.
Right.
Now I do some things, and I'll use regular coconut oil. You just hold it in your hand, it liquefies, and you
Right.
can do that. But this doesn't ever solidify. They fractionated it in a way that it stays like liquid. So super handy to have. And do that and know that's always in a place where you can use it.
And interesting tip, my girls told me about this. The fractionated coconut oil is wonderful for taking eye
Yes.
makeup and mascara off.
Yes. Yep. The water,
And-
especially waterproof stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really good for the skin,
Yes.
around the eyes.
True.
So,
Absolutely. We're talking about skin stuff. We'll talk real quick about Correct-X. Correct-X is anything skin related. And it is, again, you don't need a whole lot of it. Comes out in just a little clear, but it is great. And I'm telling you, it works so fast that I've had a couple times when I'm like, I should have taken a picture, or I thought, I'm going to take a picture, and I look down and it's gone. Or
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Yeah.
Good to have in your purse.
everywhere.
I know a couple people have used it, in the winter when your fingers want to crack.
Yeah.
Use it on that. I've heard some interesting things. Even people have used it on their lips.
Yeah.
Correct. So again, it's got, I don't know what oils are in it. I know it's got cedarwood,
Frankincense, Melaleuca. I'm not sure about
I'm
lavender.
trying to think. I think it might have. Does it have sandalwood? And of course, my eyes are lavender, cedarwood. Oh, helichrysum.
Yeah.
Has helichrysum in it. So good blend for sure.
Yeah.
So I am going to, let's talk about just two more things. We're going to talk about lemon, and then we'll talk about frankincense, and
Okay.
then whatever you want to do.
Okay, lemon. If you have lemon with you, go ahead and open up the bottle and smell. You can pass it around. Lemon's just a happy smell.
It is, yeah.
I have a friend that I actually watched her. She opened the bottle of lemon and she smelt it, and her whole face just lit up. And I said, "You just found your happy oil," because it's just a happy smell.
Yeah. Well, my
But,
cousin a few years ago was pregnant with twins and delivered twins, and bless her heart, afterwards was just really struggling afterwards. And she was not local to me at all. She lived several states away, and my mom and I were both talking to her about it, and she literally just carried the lemon around and would just smell it throughout the day and just continue to smell. And I thought, wow, is that not, I know,
It's
just the smell.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was blown away by
It's
that.
amazing. I love to drink lemon in my water. And just so you know, we didn't mention this earlier, but if you're drinking any of the citrus oils in your water, you want to make sure you use stainless steel or glass container. The citrus oils break down the petrochemicals.
Yes.
And so you don't want to be drinking plastic. Yeah. That's what you're trying to avoid. So that's really great. It's also a great stain remover. We've been doing a lot of painting at our house, and it will help take, if you drop a drop of paint on the floor or something, it will take that.
It's such a great place to start too. Like when I first started doing oils, lemon was one that I did, and it's a real gentle detox. And so it's just a great great thing. Great.
Excellent start, oil,
absolutely.
Diffusing it in the air.
I know, I never think to do that. I need to.
It's just a good,
And again, I haven't smelled it in so long because I drink it in my water all the time, but I need to stop and just
smell the lemon.
Smell the lemons before I put in my water. Yes. The last oil we're going to talk about is frankincense. And for those of you that are familiar with oils at all, you know that frankincense is a huge, they call it the king of all oils. And we kind of have the thing of, if in doubt, use frankincense. But it is, when you, like we were talking before we started, we were talking about frankincense and how it's harvested, and it actually comes out. They're called tears. And but such an incredible oil. Anything that I think of when people are dealing with an imbalance of inflammation in the body, my number one thought is frankincense.
Yeah.
It's a gentle one, and doesn't normally
very mild,
bother people's skin, you know, whatever, but such a powerful oil. And we've seen some huge testimonies of people dealing with some things, and just frankincense, how much that's helped. So just powerful oil. It has a very, forgot to tell you, open and smell it. It has a very it's earthy,
grounding smell.
So it is
which makes sense because it comes from a tree.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see. So that's one I use on I didn't when I first started using oils, because I tried to save it because it's costs a little bit more than some of our other oils. But now I'm like, just bring it out.
Well, there are some times when frankincense is the only one, you know, that you really need.
Yeah. And sometimes really, truly, when you don't know what to do, just grab frankincense and see, because, you know, it's surely not going to hurt anything for sure.
Right.
So those are just a few of the oils. I'm just going to list up. We have Aroma Touch, that they're in this kit. Aroma Touch, Balance. Oh, Balance. Love Balance. But digestive frankincense, lavender, lemon, melaleuca, which is also tea tree oil. So if you hear somebody say tea tree, melaleuca, same thing. On Guard, peppermint, serenity, which is our restful blend, a great oil. To balance and serenity together can really help to cool your jets, your cranky pants, whatever you want to say. It helps immensely with that. So those are just a few of our oils. And so we, those are just the oils. I'm going to take a minute to talk about our vitamins. So our supplements. I'll be honest. I kind of have a personal story about our vitamins. When my husband has been in sales his whole life, been on his feet since he was 14, and just has dealt with a lot of back issues, pain, just a lot of stuff, really his whole life. So we first started using the oils, trying to find stuff to help with pain, and just couldn't. We just couldn't the right thing. I mean, he took we tried oils that you weren't even supposed to do, like internally, and we just couldn't find anything to help. So finally, with the lady that kind of introduced us all to oils, she just said, you know, you might need to look into the supplements. And I'm like, oh boy, okay, you know, and so but we were at a place with him where I was scared. The magnitude of stuff that he was using to try to help his pain and discomfort, it just wasn't working. And I saw him becoming somebody that I knew he wasn't. And so we talked it through, and finally I said, I think we're just going to have to try these. And the thing is that they have a money back guarantee. It is the one product that doTERRA has that if you do these and they don't work, you don't get the results you think you should, you can send back the empty bottles and they'll send you your money back. So I said to him, what do we have to lose? And I'm going to be honest with you, at that point in our life, it was a huge commitment for us financially. And so we just decided, okay, we're just going to bite the bullet and do it. So I'm excited. We order them. He gets them and he starts. And at about day 10, I said, okay, when was the last time you had to take anything, you know, else to, you know, whatever. And no, that's not what I said then. I said, how are you feeling? Because I'm like, so excited. And he said, honestly, I thought I would be feeling better. And I'm like, bummer. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't think he was in such really bad shape. I was like, okay, I knew they wouldn't work, but it's okay. But let's just keep taking them. We'll send the empty bottles back. We'll get our money back. It'll be okay. So he continues to take them. We didn't talk a whole lot about it. You know, we just he was taking them. And at day 20, that's what it was. Day 21, I said, okay, when was the last time you had to take something? And he said it had been 21 days. And I was stunned. And I was like, oh, really? And he said, yeah. And so I was like, okay. So we took them. And I think if I remember correctly, I stayed on top of it for like a month or two. And we had it. And then we ran out. And so we had a gap between when my order went in and when we got them. And he was without them for 3, 4, 5 days. And he was like, oh my goodness, I didn't think they were doing as much until he stopped taking them.
Right.
And that's what we often hear. It was, okay, I don't think it's because it's a gradual thing, and you just don't realize it because it's just starting to take care of what you've got going on. Parts of this, we have the Microplex is the multivitamin that has your A's and B's and your alphabets, and the Z Omegas are the fish oils, but then the Alpha CRS it's a cellular vitality complex, but it actually specifically targets inflammation and the imbalance of inflammation in the body, and that for people who deal with pain on a regular basis, anything chronic that deals with the imbalance of inflammation, it's the Alpha that really helps with that. You can get these two just by themselves, the daily nutrient pack, but the three of them together are the lifelong vitality, and I'm telling you, they're powerful. They were created by a triathlete, and so they are really good stuff, and we just hear so many incredible stories about them. So I highly encourage you to consider that, especially if you've got somebody that's dealing with chronic discomfort, pain, in the imbalance of inflammation in the body. I highly encourage these. So these are great products to have as well. We've got a probiotic. We've got Terrazyme, which is something that they say that most of us, if anybody's eating meat, that you probably should be taking Terrazyme. It just helps to break stuff down in the body so the body can digest it. Helps with a lot of stomach issues like that. So like I said, we talked about toothpaste, so we've got all that stuff. So this is our Natural Solutions kit, and I want to talk real quick. This is something that doTERRA just added to all of our kits, and it is a book that comes when you enroll with your enrollment kit that honestly, it is amazing. Yeah. Breaks down every oil we have, talks about essential oil safety, talks about the company. I mean, it is amazing. Talks about the products we have. It just shows. When I got this recently, I was just like, wow, incredible. Has stickers in there for those of you that like to put stickers on the top so you can see what oil you're dealing with. Great thing. So this comes with our all of our enrollment kits. So again, there's some other products we didn't talk about. I try to just touch on. I'm trying to be respectful of your all's time, and I want to give you time to be able to chat there in your own class that you're there at. But if we have any questions, if there are any that you want to just shoot it out, we will try to answer for you. Again, if you've got this little brochure, that will help with some of your questions as well.
Do we want to tell them if they don't have this, where to find it?
Yes, if you are at a class with someone, they when you enroll with doTERRA, everybody's given their own personal website. doTERRA has a website as well. There's a wealth of information on the website. I know several people who have just gotten on there. I said it's like going to your own class. You can click on oils, the single oils, blends, products, the company.
There's educational videos on there. There's
and I think now, I have not done this per se, and I should, but I think now if you click on the oil, I think there's a little video that goes with each oil.
Yes, they give you a choice. There's a product information page. There's a presentation, which is like a PowerPoint. And then there, a lot of times on a lot of the products, there's a little short video.
Yeah. So good stuff. So if there are, I would love to know if there was anybody that had a question, what you wanted to feel less or more of, or a thing that you would love for us to address. We will be happy to do that. I'm going to if there is one of those that, Carol will let us know if one of those is on there. And then real quick, I just want to talk about, and you're there in your class, but doTERRA is offering a great offer right now, which is called a 50 with an enrollment. So for those of you that have not made the decision yet, as far as doTERRA goes and your enrollment, I like to tell people it's like your Sam's or your Costco card.
Right.
It costs $35 for the year just for the enrollment. Most of the kits that we talked about on here, those include your $35, so you don't even have to pay that outright.
Right.
But it's $35, which is virtually like what you pay for Sam's. It gets you the wholesale cost for a year. There's a $25 re-enrollment fee per year, and they send you a free bottle of peppermint with that, so you end up paying like less than $5 for your enrollment, which I'm like is crazy. But it gets you the 25% discount. And then doTERRA has a couple different things that they offer. One is it's called our Loyalty Rewards Program, where when you consistently order with them, you have the opportunity to earn points back for free oils. So when we were talking about the Natural Solutions kit, this is a kit that if you enroll with this kit, your $35 is included in all of this. And then when you set up an order for the next month, they actually the month after give you 100 points, which is virtually $100 to spend on oils or products. So I'm like, and again, that was not something that I was clued into with that. So I'm like, huge benefit.
You start out, instead of earning 10% back on your purchases, you start out at 15%.
Yeah. So it's just a great option. And for people, once you start using the oils and you realize, because sometimes people are like, how would I need oils every month? But you do, it depends on what you go through. Like when I first started using the oils, I was drinking lemon.
Right.
I was ordering several bottles of lemon a month. Now I don't. Now I just about one.
Yeah.
But because I'm doing other products and other things, and so you just kind of. So you absolutely, and when you've got people in your household, there are 5 of us in my household, and we order oils.
I'm thankful for those
yes,
points.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And points. Yeah. I'm all about free stuff. Yeah. So again, you could buy the oils retail. Most people, I don't like to pay full price for anything. So I'm all about show me the best way to get it, and if I can earn a little bit back, I'm all about that too. So, and I love every month. I'm like, how many points do I have? And what do I have? Whatever. So, and it makes it easy for me to share my oils with people too, because when I get them for free, it's easy for me to share. So those are just some of the things that we have as far as our kits go, and the offer that doTERRA, the stuff that doTERRA has to offer. I have been more than impressed with this company. The integrity, really looking out for their wellness advocates, wholesale customers. It never ceases to amaze me. So I've just have been so blessed by this company in so many ways. So so I'm excited for you all, for those of you that are already on this oil journey, to see how and where that takes you, and as you learn to use more oils. And that's one thing about this kit that we're talking about too. We're not just talking about oils, so that does tend to be what draws us a lot of times, although sometimes it's other products, but to see all the other things that are available.
Well, and this is the stuff that these are the majority of these oils are oils that you can use every day.
Yep.
You're going to use a lot of them. But the products are products that the majority of them, you would use in your everyday life. Yeah. They're very practical, like the hand soap, the toothpaste, the hand sanitizer, the shampoo and conditioner, which I didn't mention. I love the shampoo and conditioner.
Good stuff.
I have a story about that.
Yeah.
But all of these products, the supplements are things you would use in your everyday life. And I'm so thankful that doTERRA thought of that and they put it all together in one kit.
Absolutely. And it's just continuing. We're all on a journey and at different places, and we start doing things, and then we can start to add more things in and go, okay, let's see how other things we can do to help, boost our health. So, so I am just so glad that you all were on this class with us. I hope that you've had a good time there in your homes where you are. I hope you've gotten to smell the oils and use the oils, and you've got somebody there, whoever invited you to that class, that can help you with questions. There's always, we've got our Team Holtz page that is for our wellness advocates and wholesale customers, where there's always a place to ask questions and get some different ideas, sometimes how to use some different oils different ways. So, but we are so glad that you were here tonight. We hope that you learned a lot, and we would love to hear maybe some feedback, what you learned, maybe something new that you learned, something different that you had never thought of, and let us know. Let us know how you're going to maybe implement that oil or that product into your everyday life. So once again, we're so glad that you were with us, and have a great evening.